Now from the VTC of inverter we can easily identify 5 regions of operation, and these regions depend upon the values of V in and V out. In each operation region, the NMOS and PMOS transistors can be either in cutoff, triode or saturation mode. The operating modes of both transistors in different regions of operation are shown in this table, and we can see that in region 1 V in is very low and it is less than the threshold voltage of NMOS. Similarly, the V out is a high value nearly equal to VDD. In this region of operation, the NMOS transistor is cut off, whereas the PMOS transistor is in triode or linear mode. In region 2, V in is slightly higher than VTN, but it is between VTN and V out plus VTP, whereas V out is a high value but it is slightly less than VDD. So in this region of operation, the NMOS transistor is in saturation mode, whereas the PMOS transistor is in triode mode. Region 3 corresponds to the transition region. In this region, both V in and V out values are nearly equal to VDD by 2. So region 3 occurs a halfway between high and low values. So in this region, both transistors are in saturation mode. Similarly, in region 4, V in is a higher value, whereas the V out is lower value, and NMOS transistor is in triode mode, whereas the PMOS transistor is in saturation mode. So region 2 and region 4 are opposite to each other, because in region 2 NMOS is saturation, PMOS is triode, whereas in 4 NMOS is triode, PMOS is in saturation mode. Similarly, region 1 and region 5 are opposite to each other. So we can identify the state of transistors in each region by selecting some numerical values of V in and V out. For example, in region 1, let us select V in 0 and V out equal to VDD. And for NMOS, the gate to source voltage is equal to V in, which is equal to 0. Therefore, NMOS transistor is in cutoff state. For PMOS, as we know that the gate to source voltage of PMOS in inverter is equal to V in minus VDD. V in is 0 in this case, therefore the VGS is minus 2.5 volt. Assume that we are given the threshold voltage of PMOS equal to minus 0.7, as VGSP is less than VTP, or the absolute value of VGSP is greater than VTP, therefore PMOS transistor is in on state. Now to evaluate whether the PMOS transistor is in triode or saturation mode, we require the value of drain to source voltage for PMOS, and we know that VDSP is equal to V out minus VDD. V out is VDD, therefore VDSP is equal to 0, and overdrive voltage of PMOS is equal to absolute value of gate to source voltage minus absolute value of threshold voltage. So 2.5 minus 0.7 is 1.8. As the absolute value of drain to source voltage is less than the absolute value of overdrive voltage, therefore the PMOS transistor is in triode or resistive mode. So in region 2, we can also identify the states of both transistors. So let us take a value of V in slightly higher than the threshold value of NMOS. For example, we take V in 1 volt and V out 2.2 volt, and the threshold value of NMOS is 0.7 volt. For NMOS, the VGSN is equal to V in minus 0, because the source is connected to ground, which is equal to 1 volt, and this is greater than the threshold value of NMOS, therefore NMOS transistor is in on state. Further, the drain to source voltage of NMOS is equal to V out, and this is equal to 2.2, which is greater than the overdrive voltage. Overdrive voltage is what? VGS minus VT. So 1 minus 0.7 is 0.3, but VDS is greater than 0.3, so NMOS is in saturation mode. Similarly, for PMOS transistor, the gate to source voltage is equal to Vin minus VDD, which is minus 1.5 volt. Since the gate to source voltage is less than the threshold voltage of PMOS, or its absolute value is greater than the absolute value of threshold voltage, therefore the PMOS transistor is in on state. To compute the drain to source value of PMOS, we have Vout minus VDD, which is equal to minus 0.3 volt, and the overdrive voltage of PMOS is equal to the absolute value of gate to source voltage minus the absolute value of threshold voltage, which results in 0.8. As we can see that the absolute value of drain to source voltage is less than the absolute value of overdrive voltage, therefore the PMOS transistor is in triode or resistive mode. So we can identify the states of both transistors in each operation region by selecting some numerical values of Vin and Vout. Switching threshold. Switching threshold is the point on VTC curve where it intersects the Vin equal to Vout line. This means that say we have this VTC curve of an inverter, and we have a straight line which passes through all points where Vin equal to Vout, and the point on the VTC curve where it intersects this straight line, this point is known as the switching threshold. The Vin value at this point is called as the switching threshold, and it is denoted by Vm. The switching threshold is an important input parameter of an inverter. It is actually the value of input voltage at which the transition from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0 takes place. For example, we have an inverter which operates from 0 volt to 2.5 VDD, and it has a switching threshold equal to 1.25 volts. Now all values of input voltage from 0 to 1.25 are considered as binary 0, and it produces a binary 1 at the output. Similarly, all values of input voltage between 1.25 and 2.5 volt are considered as a high logic value, and as a result it produces a binary low at the output. Now let us derive the expression of switching threshold. As we can see that the switching threshold occurs in the middle of the transition region, and it is actually region 3 where both NMOS and PMOS transistors are in saturation mode, and by definition it is a point on the VTC curve where Vin equal to Vout. So let us denote this point by Vm. It means that Vm is equal to Vin equal to Vout. Now as both N and PMOS transistors are in saturation mode, they can be represented as ideal current sources. So we can represent the inverter as a connection of two opposite current sources like this. From this observation we can see that the gate to source voltage of PMOS and NMOS transistors are equal to each other, therefore both transistors have the same current but with the opposite sign. So we can write IDSP equal to IDSN with negative sign, and we can come up with equation 1 which says that IDSP plus IDSN equal to 0. Since both transistors are in saturation mode, and we know that in saturation mode the current reaches a certain maximum value, and this is represented by the ID sat, it is called the saturation current value. So we can replace IDSP and IDSN by ID sat P and ID sat N respectively. Moreover, we assume that both transistors are short channel devices, therefore the saturation occurs due to velocity saturation, and in a velocity saturated short channel device the value of saturation drain current is given by either of these two equations, where mu n is the mobility of electrons, COX is the oxide capacitance, W and L denotes the width and length of the transistor, VGS is the gate to source voltage, VTN is the threshold voltage, and VDSAT n is the value of drain to source voltage at which velocity saturation takes place. Another equation for saturation current which relates it with saturation velocity, it is given as ID sat n equal to small v sat oxide capacitance width multiplied by VGS minus VTN minus VD sat n by 2. So these are two equivalent expression for drain current of a short channel transistor in velocity saturation mode. From the basic theory of MOS transistors, we see that each transistor has some technological parameters. Among that, two important parameters are the process transconductance, which is the product of mobility and oxide capacitance, and denoted by K prime, where N is for NMOS and P is for PMOS. Similarly, the gain factor is another parameter which is equal to mu n COX W by L. So we can see that the gain factor is actually the product of process transconductance and the aspect ratio of the transistor. And from our previous discussion of a short channel transistor in velocity saturation mode, we also know that the drain to source saturation voltage is equal to L times the saturation velocity divided by the mobility. And from this equation we can obtain the value of saturation velocity as drain to source saturation voltage multiplied by mobility divided by length. Now we can obtain these values for NMOS and PMOS transistors. Now if we multiply both sides by COX and W, we get COX times W times V sat n equal to VD sat n times mu times COX W divided by L, and we can have two equations for NMOS and PMOS transistor. And as we know that mu n COX W by L is equal to the gain factor capital K, so we can substitute it in this equation and we can come up with the following equation. Now we have to substitute both these quantities in equation 3, like we have V small v sat COX times W, and this quantity is equal to Kn times capital VD sat n. We substitute it into the drain currents for PMOS and NMOS transistor and we come up with the following set of equations. Now that we have the equation for drain currents for PMOS and NMOS transistor, we can simply substitute them into equation 1 and we can obtain the following relation. We can obtain equation 7. Now from the governing equations of CMOS inverter, we know that the gate to source voltage of NMOS is equal to Vin, which is equal to Vm as we defined earlier. Similarly, gate to source voltage of PMOS is equal to Vin minus VDD. As we know that Vin, by definition, Vin is equal to V out and this point is equal to Vm. So Vm is equal to Vin and Vm is equal to V out. Now substituting these values in equation number 7, we obtain equation number 8. Now rearranging the terms from this equation and extracting the value of Vm, we obtain an equation of Vm which is the equation number 9, and it contains a parameter R, where R is equal to gain factor of PMOS multiplied by drain to source saturation voltage, divided by gain factors of NMOS multiplied by its drain to source saturation voltage. For practical purposes, the VD sat P is normally equal to VD sat N and it is in opposite polarity. Similarly, threshold voltages of PMOS and NMOS transistors are almost equal but with opposite signs. So solving this equation and cancelling out the identical terms, we come up with a simple approximation which gives the switching threshold Vm nearly equal to R times VDD divided by 1 plus R, where R is this factor. Since R is the ratio of gain factors of PMOS and NMOS transistors, so it describes the relative driving strengths of these two transistors, and this quantity plays a very important role in determining the switching threshold. The switching threshold is normally a design parameter and it can be any value between 0 and VDD, and that particular value of Vm determines the 0 to 1 and 1 to 0 transition of inverter, and also it controls the noise rejection properties of inverter. So if we want to design an inverter which has switching threshold exactly equal to 1 by 2 of VDD, we must satisfy this equation, and this equation is only satisfied when R is equal to 1. When we put 1 over here, we get VDD divided by 1 plus 1 equal to 2. So in order to design an inverter which has a switching threshold exactly in the middle of 0 to VDD, we must have R equal to 1. So putting the value of R, we see that Kp times Vd sat P divided by K and Vd sat N must be equal to 1, where the gain factor is expressed in terms of physical parameters of the transistors. Normally we have values of Vd sat P and Vd sat N equal to each other, so we cancel out these two terms from this relation. And also the oxide capacitance is a constant technological parameter, so therefore it is also cancelled out, and this gives us the following relation. Normally for a given technological process, for example 250 nanometer, 130 nanometer, 45 nanometer, etc., the length is the feature size, which is a constant, so it is also cancelled out from this relation, and this simplifies to this relation. This W denotes the width of NMOS and PMOS transistor. From the basic transistor theory, we know that the mobility of electrons is almost 3 times the mobility of holes. Therefore, placing these values in this relation gives us this result. This result says that in order to design an inverter with the switching threshold exactly half the supply voltage, we must have a PMOS which is 3 times wider than the NMOS transistor, with length and other technological parameters being constant. Now as a numerical, let us derive an expression for switching threshold for long channel devices. And as we know that when PMOS and NMOS transistors are long channel devices, or when their supply voltage is very low, then the saturation is not due to velocity saturation, but the transistor enters a saturation mode due to channel pinch off. So in order to obtain the switching threshold for long channel devices, we again use the relationship ID sat N plus ID sat P equal to 0, where these two current correspond to the saturation current of long channel PMOS and NMOS transistors, and in this case they are obtained as ID sat N is equal to mu N COX W by 2L multiplied by overdrive voltage square. Similarly, ID sat P is equal to mu P COX W by 2L multiplied by the absolute value of overdrive voltage with its square. and we know that mu n CoX W by L is equal to the gain factor Kn and Kp. Now putting the values of drain current for PMOS and NMOS transistors in equation number 1, and we know that VGSN and VGSP are expressed in terms of Vm like in the previous slides. VGSN is equal to Vm and VGSP is equal to Vin minus VDD, which is equal to Vm minus VDD. So we can replace these values over here and we can put them in equation number 1. Now taking this, as we have the square term, so we take the square root on both sides and rearrange the terms, and we obtain an expression for the switching threshold for long channel device. And in this case the factor R is equal to under root Kp by Kn. So you have to remember two things. If the transistor is in a short channel device, then it enters the saturation mode due to velocity saturation, and for this you have to use this equation, this set of equation for their current. And for short channel, the factor R is equal to Kp Vd sat P divided by Kn Vd sat N. However, if the transistors are long channel devices, their saturation currents are given by this set of equation, and the switching threshold is expressed using equation number 11, where the factor R is under root Kp by Kn. Now let us understand the switching threshold with another example which uses the practical parameters of 0.25 micrometer CMOS technology. We are given the following sets of parameters. VTH0 denotes the threshold voltage of NMOS and PMOS transistors under zero body bias condition. Gamma denotes the body effect constant. VD sat denotes the drain to source saturation voltage for PMOS, for NMOS and PMOS. Lambda shows the channel length modulation effect constant, and K prime shows the process transconductance. So these are the actual numbers from 0.25 micrometer CMOS technology. Moreover, you can also recognize the units of all these parameters. Now considering the supply voltage VDD of 2.5 volt, our task is to obtain the ratio of width of PMOS and NMOS transistors in order to design a CMOS inverter which has a switching threshold Vm equal to 1.25. Now let us consider that these transistors are short channel devices and they are in saturation region because of velocity saturation. And if we neglect the body effect and channel length modulation, we have the expression for their drain saturation current as this. Equation comes from our previous derivation. However, we are not given the gain factor over here, we are given the process transconductance. So we can express the gain factor Kn equal to the product of process transconductance with the aspect ratio of the transistor. Now putting the values of these quantities in equation 7 and rearranging the terms, we can obtain the ratio between the aspect ratios of both transistors, and we can see that this ratio is expressed in terms of these quantities. Now putting the values from the table and taking length as a constant value, we see that the results is 3.5. It means W by P divided by W by N is equal to 3.5. This results mean that for this technological process, in order to realize an inverter with switching threshold equal to 1.25 volt, the width of PMOS transistor must be at least 3.5 times the width of NMOS transistor. So from this example as well as the previous discussion, you can easily see that the switching threshold is entirely determined by the physical parameters of technological process, which includes the transconductance, gain factors, drain to source, saturation voltage, threshold voltages, and relative aspect ratios of the transistors. It means the switching threshold is not depending on the biasing condition. It is pure a technological aspect and design problem. Now let us see the effects of switching threshold on the operation of inverter. Suppose we have an inverter and we have an input voltage which has some noise or fluctuation in the lower value, and we select the switching threshold which is exactly equal to the half of VDD value. Now all values of input voltage which lie above this threshold are considered as logical high by the inverter, and as a result of these values the output is a logical low. Similarly, these values that are lying under the threshold, it will produce a logical high value. So you can see that with this switching threshold selection we are having some noise at the output signal. Now let us design a inverter in such a way that its switching threshold is slightly higher. For example, it is not 1/2 times VDD, but let's suppose it is 3/4 times VDD. It is slightly higher as shown by this line. Now as a result of selecting this switching threshold, the inverter produces this output. This value is considered as logical high, and as a result output low it produced. Now all other values are lying under this threshold, so they would be considered as logical low, and as a result the inverter will be producing a logical high for them. Now you can see that noise rejection properties of inverter can be controlled by a particular choice of switching threshold. If we have a high switching threshold, then all fluctuation lying at the low voltage levels, they are cancelled out. Similarly, if we have low switching threshold, if switching threshold is less than half of VDD, then the voltage fluctuation occurring on high voltage levels, they would be cancelled out. So changing the inverter threshold can improve the circuit reliability. However, it is not always possible to select a switching threshold of our own choice, because increasing the value of switching threshold increases the W by L. Increases there, because increasing the value of switching threshold increases their width ratios. For example, in this case, if we want to have a switching threshold 3/4 VDD, we may be having Vp by Vn equal to 10 or 11. It means the PMOS transistor must be 10 times the NMOS transistor, which is not a feasible result from layout design point of view. So the switching threshold must be selected in a realistic way. This graph shows the effects of gain factors of NMOS and PMOS transistors on the switching threshold of inverter. Let us define a quantity Kr, which is the ratio of gain factors of NMOS and PMOS transistor. If Kr is greater than 1, it means the gain factor of NMOS is greater than the gain factor of PMOS, and we have already discussed that the gain factor means the driving strength of a particular transistor. So when Kr is greater than 1, the NMOS current drive is greater than the PMOS current drive. As a result, the VTC curve moves in this direction, which causes the switching threshold to fall below the VDD/2 value. Similarly, when Kr is less than 1, it means this quantity is bigger. It means the driving strength of PMOS transistor is greater than the driving strength of NMOS transistor, which causes the voltage transfer characteristic to shift towards right, and as a result the switching threshold move upward. It means the switching threshold becomes greater than the VDD/2. So it means if we want to have a switching threshold less than or greater than the half of VDD value, we can easily control it by selecting a transistor of particular driving strength.